Hello everyone, welcome to EPG Pathshala. The present lecture is on culture, consumption and pleasure. It is a part of your paper titled Media, Culture and Society. In this lecture, you will learn the political, economical aspects of the concept of culture. This understanding will help you to understand how a market orientation provides a different twist of culture, so that the culture has to be manufactured, marketed, appreciated, exhibited and consumed. These differing domains require different level of engagement and people. The present lecture will only focus on the concept of consumption and its linkage with culture. Culture of consumption. We live in a consumer society. The meaning and identity of our everyday life revolves around the practices of consumption. For need to question whether we are indulged in a culture of consumption, or is it that we get involved in consumption of culture? The answer to this is that probably both are correct. The practices of consumption have become a part of our culture and a marker of one. For example, going to shopping mall and became a part of the youth culture in urban and metropolitan centers. Wearing branded clothes, perfumes, watches and other consumer products become a status definition. However, it should be noted here that it is not essential that every time one goes to the shopping mall, he or she necessarily has to purchase a commodity. At times, it is the mere act of going to the shopping mall and doing window shopping also forms a part of consumption. Before we understand the culture of consumption, we need to learn a brief introduction about the term culture. Culture can be understood as a range of phenomena that are transmitted through social learning in a human societies. The word is used in a general sense as the evolved ability to categorize and represent experiences with symbols and to act imaginatively and creatively. Culture thereby find expression in its wide forms of representation, like in practices, discourses and material expressions like pictorial attributes, musics and dance form, etc. Pierre Bourdieu stated that selection and consumption for cultural goods, be they be choice of art, apparel, food or popular culture, needs not necessarily always be an effect of result of capitalist pressure or manipulation. In simple word, he meant that capital is not necessarily the sole factor affecting the process of consumption. There are several other socio-cultural factors like status, prestige, pleasure, desire, etc., which regulates our consumption behavior. Bourdieu extended his ideas of capital into categories of social, cultural, economical, financial and symbolic capital. He stated that an individual is defined not only by his or her social class membership, but also by articulating every single kind of capital the bearer can through social relations. The way the agents engage with their acquired capital in their everyday practice produce inequality. This speaks that preferences and predispositions of certain favored kinds of food, music, art, etc. are taught and instilled to the children at a very tender age in schools and churches that would harness their taste and preferences in accordance to their appropriate social position. Since human beings have the tendency to differentiate themselves from others, they do so through the act of consumption of culture. Within the parameter of political economy, the economical context of consumption could be referred or more conveniently addressed as social demand. It pertains to the combination of choices which consumers make in the marketplace. The act is considered rational as in a sense it lets the consumer dictate the play of the market forces to a certain extent. In so doing, demand is privileged over production and hence over the organization and supply of goods on the market. However, what largely remains unanswered is how this demand for consumer goods is created and sustained in the market economy. By contrast, Marxist understanding of the Marxist of consumption is quite contrary to popular belief, positioning consumption as a process regulated and ultimately determined by the dominant relations of production. Marxist economic analysis specifies that production determines not only what will be consumed, but also by regulating income structure, the quality and nature of consumption. In other words, they state that the very same procedure create a need for their produced goods, selling, supplying of which they maintain their hegemony. A similar opinion was held and formulated by the neo-Marxists of the Frankfurt School. Their theory argues that people in a capitalist society do not desire a product for its qualities, but desire the product as a representation of some social standard or value that is attached to it. Marxists distinguish between two kinds of value that can be attached to commodities. There are use value and exchange value. The use value of a commodity is its primal value, which is to satisfy a real need and is essentially functional in nature. For example, the use value of a coat is its ability to keep its wearer warm. Use value thereby expresses a relation between objects and people. The exchange value is the value determined by the market through the interaction of supply and demand, the value which a product has when it is offered in exchange for other goods. In capitalist societies, exchange value dominates use value. Capitalist enterprises create a false need and demand for useless product through marketing. According to the Frankfurt School, a palpable possibilities of a revolution leading to the overthrow by the bourgeois is now unlikely. This is because modern capitalism upholds much greater sustainability through the creation of higher level of economic well-being in which the working classes have minimum resources to control or compete with the existing strong holding of the dominant bourgeois class. Society is also controlled by the mass media and pop culture, which is primarily modulated and manipulated by the ruling capitalist. Capitalism creates false need through marketing. The gratification of these false needs unconsciously makes the people fall prey to the mission caption, and they are happy that consequently turn a blind eyes to the reconciles them to the basic injustice of society of which they are only remotely familiar. The injustice of society is more usually addressed to the marginal group such as ethnic minorities. The old and third world countries being marginal, these groups lacks the strengthen the capacity of being about a revolution to change the system. The function of the cultural industries is to exert ideological control over the working classes who are manipulated and pacified into the accepting capitalism. Central to this critique of the modern consumerist culture is the genesis and gratification of false need. This is particularly important to the work of Marcuse and Adorno. Marcuse believes that the people's real need are to be created, independent and in control of their own lives, thinking for themselves. Capitalism creates false needs which are fulfilled through the consumerism, which true needs remains unheeded. Freedom in true sense in the capitalist societies is an illusion. The Marcuse creates this illusion by giving the people the false freedom of choice between different brands of the same good. Also, the Frankfurt scholars opined that in a post-war forced work atmosphere, not only the hours and actions spent in the factories by the workers are detected by the Marcuse owners, but even the post-work hours, the leisure time of the working class in colonized by a false duping mass media, hours which otherwise could have utilized in critically thinking and developing the society. With respect to mass culture and cultural production, they argued that art has been hijacked by the capitalism and the needs of the market to create conditions of dependency of consumers on the powerful. The ambition of such an commercial art is to be received uncritically, its products being highly ideological in nature as they reproduce, reinforce and strengthen the dominant interpretation of reality. However, Frankfurt's views of audience or mere passive consumers was not shared by all. Many believed the audiences to be having a certain power and control over their purchasing habits. That the mass culture is often a representation of outcome of dominant ideology has been voiced and theorized by several predominant social scientists and anthropologists like Ronald Barthes, Matthew Guy Debord, The Societies of Spectacle and Media Spectacle by Douglas Kilner. For example, Kilner cites examples of marketing approaches of multinational food chain McDonald's and Nike shoes, and how the advertisement stressed the fact that in order to be witnessed, accepted as fashionable, one has not only to dine outside, but in the McDonald's. Similarly, Nike for several seasons ran the campaigns line "Be Like Mike." Mike Jordan, who was signed the brand endorser for the Nike shoes, was promoted as the ideal man flaunting their Nike shoes. Culture consumption in India. When it comes to the consumption practices in India, the functionalities are not much as a variance with the international trend and practices. India witnessed the march of economic liberalization in the late 1980s. Post-independence, the Nehruanism, secularism approaches the nation building had different priorities set in mind, such as development and pan-inclusive growth with equity. Development in light of feeding, clothing and providing shelter to India, a poor was considered a significant goal of the state. The less economical fortunates like the workers, peasants and the poor were considered significant people of the nation and towards whom the state had obligations to address. Gandhi's choice of appeal is a clear example of his attempts to signify his semblance with the common. Later, when India's new economic policies of liberalization began to bloom during the tenure of Indian government of the 90s, a call for both democracy and free market economy was established. A strong sign of a liberal democracy is the existence of free media, but the question that continued haunting the communication researchers remained: how free is media? Proponents of modern market economies argues and opine that advertisements are a prerequisite necessity of the operation of a successful democracy. Economic liberalization in India witnessed a rapid growth of the advertisement industry and consequently its effects on media. The subsequent next few years saw a rapid growth in the number of channels on televisions, newspapers and even additional supplements in the existing ones. Though one might mistake the availability and proliferation of these electronic and print media as availability of choices that an individual has, one tend to overlook the occurrence of parallel changes like corporate control on the media through ownership and indirectly through advertisements. The audiences celebrate the range of visual choice, but the ignorant of the invisible by the corporate control. Advertisement and consumption practices. The apparent freedom of the individual and the freedom of the press in a market dominated context are misrepresented as the free press is under corporate obligations. The victory march of capitalism saw no near rivalry post the fall of Soviet Union and was universally accepted as inevitable. In India, globalization and liberalization of market was greatly cheered and adequately appreciated by the growing middle class, who were fascinated and dazzled by the glitters of a large range of consumer items and previously were unseen. In a market-led media culture, it is accepted to media of satisfy to essential services, to supply program to audiences and deliver audiences to advertisers. It would be wrong to assume the task of an advertisement as only generate higher sense of object advertised. What is the higher sociological significance is that advertisements create a culture of standard. It stabilizes benchmark of advertisement and social satisfaction. The rhetoric of the adverts are fashioned in such a manner that the implied meanings or individuals would be considered successful and belonging to a certain accepted strata if and only they consume a certain product. John Nee, in his book The Media and Democracy, mentions advertising deadens the nerves of civil society. It seduces citizens into using and discarding some things and into disregarding others. Private desires stifles public spirit. Nobody cares a nickel about anybody but themselves. So basically, the function of advertising is limited not only to the advertisement of the product, but also to promote consumption as a way of life. Because consumption is camouflaged to appear natural and as a rational modus of life, advertisements became uniquely successful in shaping and altering public discourses. The fashion of consumption of culture also enters the services of economic and political propaganda. Appadurai and Breaknews stated that consumption is privileged as an activity and a modality of social life. In part, this is because we assume that in trying to understand the political imaginary or modernity, it is important to engage with the subjective experience of modern life, which is closely tied up to particular sorts of pleasure, desire and agency. Consumption conceived as the work of the imagination. The command of adverts over the media tools tend to become so strong that public discourses, cases to talk about issues on social justice and other such pertinent issues that were gradually often sidelined over stories about happening places and people. In India, especially the existing TV culture of daily Saas Bahu soaps operas advertise no particular product per se, but what gets frequently highlighted and reported is an standard of the good life. The commercial Indian cinema provides a strong and powerful understanding of aspired social reality based on which an Indian form of capitalist realism is learned. The bright image and the wide narratives of the cinema offers the Indians at a plethora of experience of glamour, fashion and upward mobility centered on the lifestyle of heroes and heroines. The dazzles of the Indian cinema contain model of celebrity and they endorse a practice of consumption that are instrumental in shaping the new public culture. A condition of purchase to match such a desired reality is encouraged. Similarly, newspapers and magazines often carry lifestyle articles on the rich and famous interviews of models and fashion icons who not always endorse a product but very suitably hint that it's good to buy and be trendy. Advertisements thereby became social discourse advocating certain proliferating features of the illusionary goods life shaded of consumers. It is an innate human tendency to progress and evaluate to better progressive social position, and consumption is often misunderstood as a way of achieving it the desired social transformation. The curve of consumption pre-exists. What advertisement do is merely bring forth the desire out in the open. In India, the trend of product advertisement slowly shifted to lifestyle advertisements. The reason primarily for being so was because the marketers believed once you conceive an individual of a certain lifestyle that they belong or can belong to a certain class, a much more could be sold than just a single product. The rapid increase in number of newspaper and magazine, supplements with special reports on fashion, tourism, information, technology, cuisines, etc., are a clear indication of the spread and success of corporate potential in communication system. Much of the media outlets, especially press, have to depend on advertising fund to meet their retail price. But as advertising revenue gets divided among television, the internet, direct marketing and the press, the competition for harnessing maximum advertising fund result in the giving more power to control on the hands of the corporate. The print media in India, which once were the harbingers of anti-imperialist national movement, have now opened their gates to a consumerist globalization of free market. These advertisement funded media outlets eventually marginalized the concern of the poor and the low middle class, as they are not deemed potential consumers or the rendered responsible for their own plight. You have learned the political economy of mass culture and how corporate influence over media either by ownership or advertising shapes and gives rise to a tradition of consumption what protects the benefit corporates interest and generates a conscience of competition, development, progress and satisfaction among its consumers. The merit of such a consciousness based on consumption could be argued and debates and needs much further understanding and exploration. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. For more details, please read the module carefully and attempt the questions at the end. Thank you.